Hi everyone and welcome to today's video. I hope you're all okay. The weather's definitely turning towards winter now, so stay warm and wrap up if you're outside. Today I have the Citadel Sammael on Corvex Jetbike for my Dark Angels. Here's the Master of the Ravenwing. The box itself is just a white box. He is part of the range that has been moved online, so you have to order it online if you want it and have it delivered to you or in store. I chose to have it delivered in store. So we get the white box. It's nothing special, let's not worry about that. And inside you get your plastic container with plenty of resin in it. So let's get this open and dump it out, shall we? Let's not go in ceremony in this respect. So let's take a look. Let's come back to the sprues. So as this is an older kit, they haven't actually bothered redoing the destruction sheet. So this is pretty much as it was when he was first released. I don't know when he was first released. I know he's obviously been resculpted in the resin. I believe he was metal miniature previously. In fact, I'm fairly certain he was metal miniature. I'm just having a look at the sprues to see if I can find a date on it for when he was resculpted, but no, I can't find anything, unfortunately. Nothing except for Games Workshop Limited, and that's it. That's your lot. Okay, so no date, but he has been around for quite a while. And obviously he went to the Finecast when GW decided to go over to that. But yeah, so 2 stages. Basically, putting on handlebars, his foot plate, and the exhausts, which have his legs attached. You then have the front of Corvex and Sammael's upper torso and cloak, his one of the Heavenfall blades, it might be, and then the stabilizer fins at the back. It does actually build up reasonably well. I have built one of these previously. Let's have a look at the resin. So let's have a look at the main bike, which is this way. So this is the top of the bike. That's the stabilizing fin at the top rear. There is obviously there's some warpage, so I am going to have to. I don't think I'm going to have to straighten out the bike. But this fin on top, I'm going to just need to dunk it in some warm water and make sure it's upright. So the bike itself, it's one of the jet bikes from the Imperium during the Horus Heresy and the Great Crusade. It's a really nice sculpt, and I understand that some of the newer bikes that have come out for the Horus Heresy have a similar pattern to their build. So as we can see, we've got part of the Dark Angel symbolism on the back here. We've got the Cog Mechanicus on the engine, and he comes with a plasma weapon attached. He also has heavy bolters in the nose piece. So this is basically the main and centre part of the bike. There's going to be quite a lot of sprue gates that I'm going to need to cut off and make sure everything gets trimmed up accordingly. It's not feeling greasy, I have to say. I mean, I'll give it a wash anyway just to make sure, but it's not feeling greasy. I'm going to keep it on the sprue when I wash it as well, and then trim it off, rather than the other way around. So these are the exhausts with the legs on, and again they're quite nicely moulded. So on the interior, as you can see, I don't know if you can see some of the Dark Angels iconography just wrapping around the top of the exhaust and coming through, which is quite nice. And we have the handlebars, and Sammael's right hand is attached to the handlebars, and these are the downward angled stabilizing fins there. Be quiet. And we then come on to his blade, which I'm excuse my iPad while it goes mental. So I think I'm going to have to be really careful with this blade to avoid snapping it. Shh. But we have his pistol holster and the footplate for Corvex, and this is his cloak, and the cloak has a border modelled onto it, and it has the Dark Angel symbol on the back. Now I'm not going to attach this during the build. I'm going to keep it off so that I can paint it separately to avoid it covering any parts of the model that I want to get to paint. Now this is the front of Corvex, and as you can see, you have the wings, some purity seals. The bolters are just there. Let's get in there. The bolters are just recessed into it just here, and it's pretty much the same on the other side. Now on the main sprue, I don't know if you can see, but this is the front, which is the eagle chest and head, and his tail plumes for Corvex. And then we also have Sammael himself, who is helmetless. His cloak does cover up his power pack as well. I can't see a power pack on there, but he does have the Ravenwing symbol on his shoulder pad there, and the dagger on this shoulder pad. It's also, if you can just make it out, it's lined so that you can paint in the relevant colours for him, and again on this shoulder pad as well. So there you go. It's one of those miniatures. I have built him before. It did go together reasonably well. I didn't have too many issues with it, and it painted up okay. Hopefully on this occasion it will be the same, but hopefully you'll join me in a little while and we'll get him built. Okay, so I have, I think, cleaned up all the resin, straightened out all the bits that needed straightening, and I think we're ready to rock and roll with regards to putting this thing together. So obviously it's resin, so we need super glue. I'm using Gorilla super glue gel. I found it to be really good. And the first thing I'm going to start off with are the tread plates. And these, just, there's a locating pin underneath, and they just go on like so. But obviously we need to make sure that they're aligned properly. This centerpiece or main piece for the bike, I did have to bend back into shape. It was out of shape. It had a curve to it, so it was more of a banana bike. But just trying to get the tread plate central. like so. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make Sammael. The reason being is that I'm actually going to glue him together and then paint him off the model. So I shall be adding him in last. So that's his cloak. One thing I did do was I went ahead and cut the sword from him. It was looking a bit, I don't know if you can see, but it seems to wave a little bit rather than be straight. So what I did was I went into my Terminator, Deathwing Terminator spares, and used one of the swords from the Terminator kit, which I think looks better. Hopefully the detailing on the sword will mean that we'll get better paint finish when we come to do that. Then the last thing that needs gluing onto his torso is his honours there. So I need my pin, and he has a little lug just there. And then this brooch goes on like so. And that's Sammael built as far as I'm going to take him with regards to him going on the Jetbike. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put handlebars on. So I've had to, this tread plate here that I've just put on, and then these handlebars, I've had to dip both of these into boiling water in order to then put them to the model and straighten them out, because they were warped quite a bit. Then what you get is these side fairings which go on. Now, when you're cleaning this kit up, there are a lot of triangular gates between detail. What I mean by that is, I think the easiest thing I can show you is you've got these covers which go over bits on the handlebar attachment, but I've had to cut the triangular gates I've had to cut these away in order to make it fit, and it was on all four, so one there, one there, one there, one there, and it was both, and it was the same on the other side. And that's just basically to enable the resin to flow so that it fills up where it's supposed to. The other thing is there were triangular gates going from the top of these engine tubes here up to the center resin piece, and they all need to be trimmed away so that the correct detail is showing, otherwise things aren't going to fit. But this goes on this side like so, and all I'm going to do is touch some glue to there, glue to there, glue to there, and then a bit of glue down that side. And then I'm going to do the same for the other side. This time I'm going to make sure that I get a bead right the way down the join as well on this. And then that needs to be aligned as best as you can get it. And then I would leave it to dry. This isn't that important, because the gap, what I'm saying is because the eagle goes down the center line like so. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop him into boiling water before I glue him on, so that I can press him into this recess and he conforms a lot better. Okay, so now I'm in a bit of a quandary, because I want to be able to paint the miniature, and if I put his legs on, potentially I'm going to find it difficult to paint certain areas, but his legs go on like so. I will need to obviously make sure that they meet in the middle, because that square recess is where his torso marries up to his body. And then there's some locating pins on the inside of the exhaust there. So I'm actually probably going to leave that off. He does have a pistol, and that pistol goes in there. So I'm going to pop that in, because that's not too bad to work around. Like so. And we have the obviously I need to leave that to go off a bit longer. We then have these diagonally pointing downwards stabilizer fins, which go on like that, and I do recommend just making sure that they are aligned as best as possible, like so. Right, one thing you will have to do, and that is the hole for the flight stand is quite large. What I've actually found works best is, actually we'll use the clippers. Okay, just clip the top off, and then the wider tip sits into the flight stand a lot better. So it sits in, it's still a bit skew with, but it sits in better. So, book will go on like so, and then the eagle will go in. I'm going to let this go off for a spell, and we'll come back to it. Okay, so I've just test fitted the eagle. It's actually not too bad because I did try and mould it earlier, and I'm actually quite happy with that. So I'm going to go ahead and glue it. And then I'm going to glue the book on. It goes in there. And then, as I said, I think I'm going to leave his legs and exhausts off, and his torso, so that I can paint them and get to the bike. But there you go, that's pretty much it. The only thing I'm not going to glue on is the eagle banner pole for his backpack. I'm not going to use that. And as I said, I've swapped out the sword that came with it for one of the swords. I've just basically cut it from the hilt and glued it onto him. I did try to look for a hand with the sword attached, or an arm I could cut the hand off, but the problem was the hands compared to the resin one here were very much out of scale to each other, so I've had to keep his hand and the hilt, but he would then go on to the mini like so.